Hello, everyone. Welcome to the amazing Seton Hall #1 rated show, Hall Hoops and Happenings. I'm your host today, Nick from Milburn. I am joined by, I think we like old throwback Big East coaches here. You know, Massimino, Carrillo, Massimino, PJ Carlissimo, Lou Carnesecca, Raleigh Massimino, JP. We got three Italians here. I got Paul Justafan, and joining us for the first time, live and in person, my buddy Frank. And what's up, guys? How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing great.
What's
Good
up?
to see you, Nick.
Nice to see you, Frank. What's up? Introduce yourself and tell everyone about you. And we are so excited and stoked to have you here. You know, the old Raleigh Massimino, PJ Carlissimo, Lou Carnesecca connection. So let's do this right.
Well, look, I've been following you guys for a long time, but first time, long time for me. Great to be here with you guys. And I'm a graduate of Seton Hall from 1990. I was there at the Final Four, the final game, the Sweet 16, the game against UNLV to get us in there. So
wait, you were at those games?
Oh yeah,
you went?
Oh yeah.
Wait, you were in at the final?
Oh yeah, I was in Denver, and then I was in Seattle the following week.
For the worst call in the history of basketball, college basketball, you were there.
Nick,
oh my God.
It was so tough on me that and you know what? I hope not too many people that were on that chartered flight are watching right now, but I was purposely trying to delay the best time of my life and try to have that plane leave so I could just hitchhike home. I did not want to leave. I did not want reality to sink in. And the chartered plane actually waited for us. They were a little aggravated that, you know, it took us about a half hour to find the plane. But we were really upset. And, yeah, I mean, that was just a magical time. And I really thought Ramil Robinson was going to miss those free throws.
He wasn't a great free throw shooter, right?
No.
He was like 60-something%.
Yes, correct. And everything was just going our way. I just felt like it was destiny. And
I have watched that play 1,000 times, and every time it's still not a foul. There is no way. I've spoken to officials on every level. By the way, hello, Nicole. How are you? Another Italian joining us. Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening. I've spoken to officials on every level, and they say, you know, at that point of the game, put your whistle in your pocket. Unless it's a mugging, you do not blow your whistle. And that was nowhere near a mugging.
And it gets softer and softer every time you see it. It's amazing.
Who did you go to the game with? Were you part of the band or?
No. So the week before, I went by myself out in Denver. And I think there was about 14 of us from the school that went. There were a bunch of teachers. And I don't know, we must have had about 30 people altogether. We had 2 or 3 rows at the McNichol Center in Denver. And that was just beautiful. I got paired up with some guy named Angelo I never kept in touch with. He was a nice guy. He was a little older than me. We lost touch. And then we went back on Easter Sunday, and I'm on cloud 9. And I have all my friends calling me back then, the ones from Seton Hall saying, "Oh, we got to go. You're going to the Final Four, right?" I'm like, "No, I just spent my spring break money." So my parents actually lent me money, and said, "Look, it's a once in a lifetime thing. Go out there to Seattle with your friends." So then for the Final Four, you know, there were other people that I was regularly going to the games with all throughout the year, and they you know, we had a great time out there too until the last, you know, 3 or 4 seconds of the game.
I've never been to a Final Four or a final. How's that experience? I mean, I can only imagine. My son worked a Sweet 16 game and said that was awesome. But I mean, everybody's watching. All coaches are there, all, you know, that are out of the tournament and are in season. It's just.
You're right. You're right. It was a little surreal, to tell you the truth. Guys like, do you remember Cliff Robinson from UConn?
Connecticut, yeah.
So all of a sudden, he was hanging out like with the Seton Hall people. I remember there was a mass right after we beat Duke, and all of a sudden I'm looking, I'm like, wait, this is Cliff Robinson. What's he doing with us? And next thing you know, we're in the basement of the hotel, and we had like one of these party rooms. and CBS News was there interviewing us, Channel 7. It was incredible. And but during the game, it was so fun. There were people from all over. There were people that I knew whose daughters went to Villanova, who came looking for me and found me because they knew I was going out there. There were people I knew, believe it or not, St. John's, who I hung out with at halftime. Funny thing is, I think St. John's was they went pretty far in the NIT that year. I don't know if they won it, even second, but I remember having a conversation after we beat Duke and waiting for the next game to start. What was it, Illinois and Michigan?
Right.
But it was fun. I mean, I know you've probably been to doubleheaders before, like at the Garden at least for the Big East tournament.
Big East tournament,
so
yeah.
It's that, but it's magnified by about 10. Especially back then, we were so new to being on CBS with Brett Musburger calling the games.
Right.
And, then going to the studio and everybody else was there. Dick Vitale was they would cut back to the studio. Dick Vitale was talking. So we were front and center stage. It was just such an amazing time. But it was, as I said, it was almost like being in the Big East semifinals, but on steroids.
But magnified 1,000 times. And one last question. Did you go to the parade?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
How was the parade? I wanted a parade after the NIT, but Mayor Collum wouldn't bite. But anyway, I did not go.
It was pretty
For
nice.
those of you who don't know, the parade started where? It started downtown South Orange and ended at Seton Hall, right?
Yes, it ended by the new gate, not the old gate where the main entrance used to be back in the day, but the current main gate right now. That's where it ended. And I remember there were players from the year before that were there. I know James Major was there. I think Martin Sally was there too. But it's so funny to see, you look down South Orange Ave and you see the train tracks from the top of the hill, and it just was a sea of people. It was something that you couldn't imagine South Orange looking like unless if you were there at that time. And in a way, Nick, I got to tell you, I was actually a little jealous when I was out there at the Final Four. I'm seeing reports while I was out there of what it looked like on campus before it was such a party atmosphere on that Monday of the final game. And I'm like, wait, Seton Hall does not usually look like that. But it was just one huge party back at Seton Hall. And when we landed and we took a chartered plane right back from Seattle after the game, I remember walking across campus, and the campus was just littered with party. It looked like like there was one huge party throughout the whole campus. Every inch was covered with debris. And I'm saying to myself, wow, I can't believe I missed that. And I'm saying, but I was at the final game. So in a way I was jealous. I wanted both, but I'm happier that I was at the games. I thought people were telling me it was going to be a once in a lifetime experience. It was actually the Arizona fans that were telling me that the week before. And I'm saying to myself, no way, we've arrived. PJ created a monster here. We got Jersey City coming in the next couple of years. We're going to own the state. We're going to just steamroll. We're going to be the new Duke. But it didn't really materialize.
You have to appreciate things when they happen. And real quick, that team was really a team, right? You had John Morton and Gerald Green in the backcourt. John Morton was probably the best player on the team. Ramon Ramos from the island of Puerto Rico, who was just a banger inside. Darrell Walker from New York City was skinny, but he was a good player inside. And then Andrew Gaze from Australia, who was a sharpshooter. And then you had Anthony Avent, who recruiting his son right now, off the bench, and Franz Volsi off the bench, and Pookie Whittington, who was about 5'4", off the bench. And, that was just a great team with a lot of depth and a lot of talent.
Pookie was my roommate. And
really?
Yeah.
Was I right? 5'4" or maybe 5'5"?
No, between 5'3" and 5'4".
Wow. He was a player. He would come off the game and come off the bench and just change tempo. Big time.
Yeah, unfortunately with him, he had a lot of knee problems. His knee kept swelling up. He had to get that thing drained so many times, and it was agonizing for him. And he had some arthroscopic surgeries plus getting it drained. I remember watching him and feeling awful for him.
Well, Paul, Frank, it's true that you bleed pirate blue, and welcome. Thank you for finally coming on. Nicole, thank you for pushing him and encouraging him, and you're part of the squad now. Nicole, how have you been, buddy? What's going on? Haven't seen you in a while.
I've been busy with work, so things have been a little crazy. But new fiscal year, I got a new client, really good client. And I'm learning a lot. I'm actually now in data protection, so I'm really getting knee deep into all the security stuff now.
And that's what you want to do, right? That's your
100%,
thing.
100%.
Oh, God bless. And joining us, another Italian. We have PJ Carlissimo and Raleigh Massimino and Lou Carnesecca and the Big East Brain Trust here, Chris Russo. Chris, WSOU, one of, if not the best I've ever had the pleasure of calling Hall Line and talking to. Chris, welcome, and how's your summer going?
That's very kind. I'm hanging in this summer, let's put it that way. Won't go into detail, but I will say, nice thing this past week I did get to do. I know we were talking a little bit in the background about maybe the Seton Hall golf outing, but I was part of a golf outing this week as a volunteer. I can't golf worth a lick, but if you guys know a guy named Ed Lucas,
yes,
so
he hung around with Phil. He was a Yankee clubhouse guy, right? He wrote a book.
Yes, and he went to. It's possible I've talked about it on the show before. He went to Seton Hall, and he was the first person on Seton Hall's campus to be blind and have a guide dog, and did a lot for the school. I kind of ghost wrote his Jersey Journal article for a couple of years. My family and I got involved with the foundation because my grandparents were from Jersey City, and there was he worked at St. Joseph School for the Blind for a long time after he had gone there, and there was that whole connection. But that was a whole thing, and so honored for the upteenth consecutive year to volunteer for that with pretty much my entire family, and then a good amount of friends. Not to mention, it's an incredible outlet for a number of ball players come in. Roger Clemens was an award winner this year, and a lot of people honoring the 25th anniversary of the last Subway Series World Series. Let me clarify, actually, because it's not exclusive to Yankees Mets, but that was just a very, very interesting evening.
What was the highlight of the evening for you?
Boy, well, you know what? Actually, I will say there was Allison, Ed's widow, still runs the foundation and runs the tournament, and she, along with David Cohn, who is Phil Rizzuto was the face of it for many years, was the face of the tournament for many years before he passed, and then it was Gene Michael, it was Stick for a long time, who I got to know and was lovely. And now it's David Cohn. So Allison and David Cohn introduced a young man by the name of Alan Wiley. I believe I got that correct. And he is blind, but he's actually a color commentator for a team in the Washington Nationals organization. And so they honored him. And Allison mentioned how much he reminded her of Ed, or I think she called him Ed 2.0. I think especially because Ed was an outstanding writer, but he didn't call games or anything like that. And I didn't really get to talk to him much, but I didn't get to talk to him at all, but he had a very, very nice speech. He's young too. He is if he's not college age, he's just out of college.
Wow.
And he's very impressive. Talked about how much he appreciated the New York City baseball scene. And I did not realize he was from Cleveland, and talked about Tom Hamilton, which was a really cool thing. Tom Hamilton's been the voice of the now Guardians for a long time. And one of the things, I'm rambling here, but just this last thing, Tom Hamilton did a really nice thing that when John Sterling retired from doing the Yankees full time, they closed out a Cleveland broadcast. They weren't even playing the Yankees. They closed out a Cleveland broadcast with just a series of John Sterling highlights, which is one of the classiest things I've ever heard.
Right, classy, right.
Yeah, very classy. Yeah, Tom Hamilton,
very
great broadcaster.
Right.
I think was finally inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame this past year. But yes, everybody, a ton of Yankees and Mets there. talk to Todd Zeal for a second because he works at SNY. I interned at SNY for half a semester before COVID shut things down. And a good friend of mine, Chris Famularo, who is another Seton Hall alum, another WSU alum, is a camera operator for them now and has been for a long. He's outstanding. And so that just another person I threw out there. John Starks actually gave one of my volunteer friends a cigar that was from his brand, which I thought was pretty funny. So that was just a whole smorgasbord of things happening.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I had an interesting few weeks. As you guys know, I went to see Coldplay in Miami, and Coldplay was relevant. And I had this, you see my sign? I had this sign, even though we didn't make the message board, I was with my wife, the mayor, and it was great. And people were taking this picture, and I'm on so many different people's Facebooks and Instagram. And one of the best concerts. I mean, Paul talked about great concerts a while ago. A bucket list, one of the best concerts I've ever seen. And they put on an outstanding show, and our seats were good. And my daughter, Christina, who popped in, she was in Nashville for her bachelorette party. Nicole, I thought you were going to go. No? You didn't get the invite to Nashville?
Maybe it got lost in the mail.
They got lost in the mail because he said, yeah. But anyway, my nieces went, and my other daughter went, and a couple friends went. And I guess it was on a need-to-know basis, and I don't need to know except that they had a really, really good time. And, and she's still here. And, she's going to get married in February, and we're looking forward to it. Congratulations, Christina. And Nicole, your sister, Sam, for the first time has popped on. And Samantha,
that's not my
welcome.
sister.
That's not your
sister. No.
That's a new listener.
Wait, who is it?
That is my very good friend from Seton Hall that I would sit in the student section with all the time.
Wait, that's not your sister, Samantha?
No.
Oh my God, I thought for all these months that Samantha.
My sister doesn't have a Facebook account.
Wow. What?
Also,
Oh my God, because when you posted pictures, oh my God, I am sorry. You guys look like sisters. I've
gotten that a lot. I've gotten that a ton. Like, a lot of people think that we're twins and stuff, which is funny because she is actually a twin.
But not your twin.
No. No.
Well, Samantha, welcome, and thank you for popping on. And our person who runs our show has popped back
girl.
after a nice dinner. The great Bobby Blackjack Laurenti. Bobby, what's up, buddy? Welcome.
What's going on, people? Me and Frank actually watched the NIT final together.
In the semis, right?
Yeah.
Wait, you guys were there?
No, we watched at the Rebar in Lodi.
Yeah, it's the place where I had my watch party last year. You had yours down.
It was my son's. Yeah, at whatchamacallit, St. James Gate.
St. James Gate, right.
Yeah.
I almost said Heaven's Gate. St. James Gate. Right.
St. Heaven's Gate.
So actually, and I've been busy up here. I'm exhausted, but a few more weeks to go. Summer's over. There was actually a Seton Hall grad here last week. The infamous Richard Behan was here. He's now SID at Wagner College. So I was able to have a few words with him. Good to see a familiar face on vacation. So
I graduated with Rich, actually,
yeah.
And I don't know if, correct me if I'm wrong, he was also the interim women's bowling coach last year, I believe.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do
right,
what you can at those schools.
Family?
Do what you can.
Yeah.
So what's going on, family? Nicole, unfortunately, we're not talking about Taylor Swift tonight. That's another podcast that, two bearded guys.
I actually do have a comment to make, though. The Jonas Brothers were playing MetLife Stadium on Sunday night.
Did you go?
No, I didn't, but I watched it on Samsung TV.
Christina went. But anyway, go on. I'm sorry.
I saw them in 2024 at the Stadium Series, so I didn't really feel the need to go. But now I got FOMO after what happened. They brought Demi Lovato out, and they were pretty much playing all like the Camp Rock songs. And I mean, I grew up on Camp Rock, so the nostalgia and everything was insane.
Wait, they brought Demi Lovato out?
They brought out Demi Lovato.
Wait, they brought the Jonas's wife out, right? No.
Yeah. At
and
the
Demi
end,
Lovato?
they did, when you look me in the eyes. Demi Lovato came out.
Christina, you didn't tell me Demi Lovato was there. I like that Demi Lovato. You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, they're up here next. They're up here Monday night at Bethel.
And then they'll
The
be back
Jonas
in
Brothers?
Camden.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I thought it was really
in Bethel. How many seats?
It's like PNC Bank Art Center. So it's like
Yeah.
you have the
Okay.
seats, and then you have the lawn behind it.
That's where you saw Def Leppard.
Yep.
Are you going, Bobby?
Nah.
Anyways, though, I thought it was really interesting because they pretty much broke the internet with Demi Lovato Sunday night. But then Taylor Swift goes, "Hold My Beer," and decides to drop a whole new album on New Heights podcast tomorrow. Like, what the heck is going on?
Wait, TS12, right? TS12.
Yes, TS12. The Swiftie
I
and
know
me is like
something.
overjoyed.
That's awesome.
What's the 12?
I literally called it. I said it was
Her
going to be
12th
an album.
album, right? Her 12th
Okay.
album.
Yep.
I'm assuming that's a Brady reference, right?
No.
TS
Hell no.
I would make sense. I don't.
TS12, her 12th studio album.
No,
TS11
I know,
Torture
but that's
Poets
the whole-
No,
Department.
he knows.
No, I know, but I know that. But I'm just saying the whole thing is that Tom Brady's the TB12, the whole
TB12.
the brand.
He's
I
right.
wonder if that's. I don't know. Would it make sense? I don't know.
And it was announced on a football podcast. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, if you watch Happy Gilmore 2, which was filmed all around North Jersey, he's in that as well.
Yeah, he
he's
is.
good.
I'm excited for tomorrow night, though. I knew something was strangely up when the show wasn't premiering at 9:30 in the morning like it normally does. It's premiering at 7 o'clock at night. So that's when I knew, like, okay, something big is going on
Prime
here.
time.
Why do you think she did it on that show? Because she has free reign to do whatever she wants.
I want to know if Travis has something to do with it.
Gee, what do you
Like,
think?
is there some type of football connection going on with this album now?
Nah, it's probably a
Okay.
bump. I mean, that show is already making a ton of money because of the hosts and the guests they have.
Yeah.
I mean, if we get Taylor Swift on here, we're all going to be driving Cadillacs in 6
I don't
months.
think I'd be even able to speak like coherently if she was on.
It's all
Yes,
up to
you
guests,
could.
right?
You would.
No, I
You would not be
I'd be
starstruck.
in the
You would
I'd
not
be in
be
the-
starstruck.
I was
We talked about
starstruck in
being
front of my favorite
starstruck.
hockey player when I was 14.
You're not 14 anymore.
I know, but still, it's like, yeah.
I still think John Daly was the best
So
part
what
of
do
Happy
we
Gilmore
miss?
too.
What's that?
Sorry, Bobby. I still think John Daly was the best part of Happy Gilmore too.
Oh, yeah.
I have to watch Happy Gilmore too. What's
like
going on is Netflix. It has an office in New Jersey or a studio in New Jersey. They moved in because my wife got a couple phone calls from Netflix wanting to scout locations in Millburn Short Hills, and my wife was invited on the set for a John Cena movie in Short Hills, and he couldn't have been nicer, and it was awesome. So yeah, a lot of
He
stuff
was
in
in
our area
Bayonne,
with
too.
movies.
He was at Bayonne Medical Center.
I don't
Really?
know. I think he's granted more Make-A-Wish wishes than anyone
Yes.
else. Johnson, I'm not surprised about that. No, I was going to say, I think you're referring to they bought Fort Monmouth.
Yes.
And they're turning that into a studio. I actually, my mom's from Red Bank, and so I went by. It's funny. I actually drove through there fairly recently, and it's funny. It's so much open land. I never realized how much land there actually is. And yeah, it's wild. I actually know that there were part of me regrets it, but there were casting calls, and I remember being forwarded this by a couple of people, my dad included, that said pretty much seeking extras around my age and my look.
Right.
For the area for Happy Gilmore. And I forget what courses that Montclair might have been one of them. They were at some courses around here.
Yeah. Paul, we can't hear you, buddy. Poor Paul.
No, we can't hear him.
Yeah, we can't hear Paul.
Is his mute on? Is that?
I don't know. He's talking.
He's pulling
Oh,
a
no.
stack monster.
Yeah. Bobby, how have you been, buddy? What's up?
I'm just tired. I mean, I'm doing double duty up here, and summer's almost over. The past 2 weeks are the busiest weeks. My family and friends were up here last week, so I know everybody from that week. So it was just, a lot of late nights, early mornings. Got to play bocce in the morning, so that's a tradition around here. If you don't know what bocce is, then you're not Italian. I think everybody here. I think we're all Italian here, right?
Yeah, I made the Massimino Carlissimo Carnesecca reference before.
Yeah, this is the all Italian broadcast right now.
Yeah, we're six for six tonight. It's like a Unico meeting.
That's pretty good.
I don't know. Anyway, just I've been neglecting Surge stuff, so I'm about to get ready to get back into things, and I want to start building that up. I want Surge to be the next Barstool, so and all you are part of the family, so let's do it.
That would be amazing. Christina, what did I miss? Nicole was talking about Taylor Swift and TS Taylor Swift 12 and New Heights podcast. Is that what it's called? Paul dropped off.
Yes. He's probably trying to fix the audio.
Yeah. Nicole's as big a Swiftie as you, Christina. So, yeah. I don't, Paul had a lot to talk about. Paul's been doing some writing for for Pirate Crew or whatever it is now. And he's been writing some really great stuff over there. So I don't want to steal any of his thunder. But Seton Hall had a golf outing, and I know that Nico, the unsung hero for Pirate Blue, did an amazing job putting that together, and they had a new venue this year. And whenever you do something like that, it can be challenging. I've run events before, and you're always nervous. You never know. You have to get attendance and a million little details. And I heard it was a wonderful day. And, the news coming out of there, I heard, was very encouraging about our team. Now, you got to remember, it's like spring training, so there is the feel of optimism right now. But hearing good things about what's been going on, especially with Bud Clark and Stephen Payne, I hear they've been really killing it, a good inside-out combination. Frank, what have you heard? Hear anything?
No, just rumors like you have. I'm just trying to be careful. I mean, last year I heard a lot of optimism too, a lot of optimism coming out of camp. I'm actually hearing a little less this year, but I think a lot of people are being more cautiously optimistic this year than last year. You know what I mean? Some people were telling me, no, we were going to be right back contending for an NIT championship or NCAA first round, second round last year. We were put in a tough position last year, so there's no reason to go over all that again. But we were dealt with a ton of injuries. But this year, I don't know. I did hear the same thing that you heard. That we have a bunch of good components, a lot of good players. This could be their breakout year. And that's some of the things, like when you're recruiting like we were recruiting, that's what you're hoping for. It's not like we were getting the top guys that were the top ones that were available when free agency started.
It is free agency. You could call it that. That's what it is. It's unrestricted free agency.
Exactly. I didn't want to say it, but it essentially is. So, but
it's not pay for play, but it is pay for play. And Chris Russo has been saying on past shows. Chris has been saying on past shows that got to kind of take the money ball approach. And Frank, what you said is we're not going to get the top. I mean, I think our best player was top 200 in the portal.
Well, that was this year, but I mean, things might be changing. Yeah. I'm encouraged.
Well, this year,
right. I'm encouraged to see what's going on. I think with getting Hines. I think we would have lost him, even though we were front runners for him. NC State was making a big push, but I think maybe NC State it might be limited after the ruling, and we were able to start loosening some of our restrictions after that. And I think hopefully that's a sign for a more of a level playing field. Maybe we won't have as much resources as some of these bigger schools, but I don't think the disparity is going to be as great.
Well, that'll get us back to the Moneyball thing. And the thing with Hines is now the key is you got to resign him for next year. You can get because a lot of schools are going to step away from freshmen. So if we get freshmen, then we have to do the Marquette model and put our money into retaining them. But Chris Russo and I have talked on this show many times about Moneyball. And when you look at Bud Clark and you look at Stephen Payne, I mean, I think they were undervalued because, coming from Murray Mac and Jacksonville, they were a little bit undervalued. But I think that's the kind of kid we have to go after. And I think they're both going to have, breakout up years. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Hines and Clark are the two guys you're going to have to lock down far and away in particular. It is funny. There is another baseball component to it in that, you talk about locking up these guys for multiple years, which is, it's unfortunate that I have to say it this way, but you almost have to think like the way the Atlanta Braves have thought in the last few years, in that you are going to pay these guys deferred money. You're going to sign them to long-term deals. I know that's a different look. If you're playing at the very most 5-6 years, and that's really saying something. That's someone who's actually very committed to the program at that point. But you have to make sure these guys are locked up, and because of that longevity and the security, you can afford to pay them a little less each year. That's what the Braves did with a lot of their homegrown talent. And while that's a team that's struggled very much this year, it's a team that's had a lot of long-term success. Atlanta is, think about it the way Seton Hall does. The Atlanta Braves are always very competitive, even though it's not New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, Philadelphia, even Boston, with the historical aspect, how big a market that is. Atlanta is still a larger market, but it's not the highest budgeted team. It's like baseball. There's going to be a high budget for any given ball club, unless you're Tampa or the A's, maybe. But that's what you have to be if you're Seton Hall. Think like the Atlanta Braves. Think like the little brother.
Right. Let me ask you guys this, and we'll start with Bobby. Are we going to be better than last year, Bobby?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think I had seen somewhere we had 3 games at Walsh this year.
Right.
Well, if we lose to Fordham again, then we're going to know we're on the same path. If we're going to start beating these smaller programs, and I think we're going to be, it's going to be a jump start of confidence that should hopefully spill over into the Big East season.
We're going to have 7 non-conference games at home, 4 at the Rock, and 3 at Walsh. And the reason being is Brian had a really hard time working around the schedule with everything going on at the Rock. And, rather than do back-to-back and some crazy things, he decided to do it this way. And on our Facebook page, there was a lot of complaining. But, since I'm a Seton Hall graduate, I went and did the math. And my ticket alone, one game, is still only $27.62 a seat, which in this market isn't too bad at all. And I love my seats. So, I'm looking forward to it. Nicole, you think we're going to be better than last year?
I honestly can't tell you. I don't know too much. I can't tell you. I don't know too much about these guys. I don't know if they're going to gel well together, because that was obviously one of the issues that we had last season. I think it depends on how they play in the non-conference games to see how they really do. Because, hey, last season, that was what really kind of showed us what we were dealing with last season.
And it didn't lie, right? It held serve.
No,
it held form. What in the game wasn't an aberration. It was, Frank, do you think we're going to be better than last year?
Absolutely. There's not a doubt in my mind. How much better, I'm not sure. But, somebody posted the out-of-conference schedule. And there's 11 games altogether when you count the 2 opponents that we don't know yet in Maui. Of course, I'm trying to be as optimistic as I always can. And, I'm really hoping, realistically, for either 8-3, but maybe 7-4 if I'm not, being too greedy. I don't see how we could go any less than 6-5 with this non-conference schedule. And then when you go into the Big East schedule, I think we're going to be better than last year. I don't see any way that we can't. I'm actually hoping for, 5 to 8 wins, maybe, hopefully, maybe even more. I really think I don't want to say the sky's the limit, but I think I could be pleasantly surprised and even be understating my hopes right now.
So when I look at those 11 non-conference
What the hell's
games,
going on?
I figure that the ones that are going to be up in the air is Rutgers at home, and we should be able to beat Rutgers at home. So if we win the other 7, that would be 8, and then the 3 games in the tournament, and if we win one game in the tournament, that's 9. So and we lose to Kansas State. So yeah, 9-3. I think you have to go at least 9-3.
Well, there's 11, so 9-2 or
8-3. 8-3.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, losing the two in Hawaii and the Kansas State.
We won 2 in Charleston last year, so that's why I'm thinking maybe we could get 2 out of 3 out there.
Speaking
we played really for that was our best run of the season. Jenkins went off in Charleston. Chris Russo, we going to be better than last year?
I would say probably yes. Based on, first off, you have Clark and Hines. I think this team's probably going to be a little top heavy, but Shaheen Holloway is going to lean on those 2 guys in particular. I think they should be better. I think they have a higher ceiling. And here's the other thing. You mentioned it seems like there are more games at Walsh this year than in previous years.
Right.
And if you're Seton Hall, I think that's something you can actually take. You mentioned the dissatisfaction from some season ticket holders, but the truth is it's going to be louder. Any given game is going to be louder and tougher to play in. And you look at that with some smaller schools, and that's helpful. It's helped Seton Hall in the past, and it's going to drive up interest, that whole supply and demand factor. So I think it's going to be tougher to play in Walsh Gym. And on top of that, on average, look, based on last year, you probably sell some fewer seats at the Rock. It's a much larger capacity. You're only in the lower bowl. It can only hold so much noise. I'm not saying noise isn't that much of a factor as it is on the floor, as opposed to the actual product on the floor, but it's going to be different. And if you can build up an 8-3, 9-2 non-conference slate, it's going to build up some confidence for these guys. Confidence that they really did not have because they just assumed, and any given year you assume that St. Peter's or any given game is just going to be a gimme in the non-conference slate, with the exception of games like Kansas State or going to Hawaii or things like that. I expect them to be better because the expectations are lower and the pressure is taken a lot more off of their shoulders.
Good point. Paul, are you with us? Can you hear us? No. Sorry,
I heard
Paul.
him for a second when he first came on again.
No. And you know what? While Paul gets his stuff together, maybe I asked you the wrong question, because I think we all agree that we're going to be better than last year, but maybe the question should be, are we going to be good this year? Because last year let's face it, we were god awful. And I mean, next to last in the conference or in a country in scoring points a game. Can't do that again. That's not going to happen. We have a point guard this year. Dual was our point guard last year, and he never got out of the box. He was just hurt. Our big guy, Okorafor, he was hurt. Dylan started the year, injuries were killing us, and there was no continuity to begin with, and it just was not a good thing. So are we going to be good this year? That's the question. And Eddie Martinez, welcome, and go Pirates. We going to be any good, Frank?
As I said, I'm thinking we're going to be a lot better. I'm expecting 5 to 8 wins in the Big East, but if things go right, maybe we could get to 10. Maybe we go 10-10. Maybe we flirt with the bubble.
If we go 10-10, we're going to make the NIT at least. If we go 10-10.
Oh, I believe so.
Yeah.
But I think we're definitely going to be a lot better than last year. Those injuries, Nick, you brought up a great point. With all those injuries, we could not even hold a good practice. How many times did Shaheen complain about all week long? He's practicing with 6, 7. You can't run practices that way.
No, and we have a lot of depth this year. And my son had said a few weeks ago, we have guys that are going to be pressing guys to get better, and there's going to be competition for spots, and we're deep. I don't know, Bobby. What are you hearing about this team? I know you got some connections. You hearing good stuff, promising, optimism?
I mean, I think I look at it this way. There's two things I'm looking forward to this season is, us potentially being a better team, maybe being 500 and making the NIT. I think that'll be a good, reasonable goal for us. And keeping it within the Seton Hall family, we got to hope our buddy Danny Hurley and his team can help corral St. John's from winning everything. They're going to be just as good as St. John's this year. So, it's room for Hurley to shut down the vitamin water guys, and let's hope our team gets better. And it just seems there's a quiet optimism about this team this year after last year. So let's just hope that builds up. I mean, it's now August 12th. Within 2 months is Big East Media Day. So we'll see what the hype's all about, right?
Paul, Paul, you there yet, Paul? No. I don't think Paul can even hear us now.
Might be a Wi-Fi thing because he seems frozen.
Yeah.
I see him moving. I don't know.
Oh no! I mean,
I'm doing my best, fellas.
Oh, there you are! You got it! Yay! Touchdown!
Can I answer your question? Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So this headset isn't doing anything, and I'm throwing it out.
Cool.
Paul, tell us about the team and the season, and who's going to be good and who's going to outperform. We're waiting for you, Paul. Go.
Well, so here's my deal. So I think that Bud Clark is going to be an improvement at point guard.
Right.
And
well, we had no point guard last year, so it has to
That's
be,
right. And the fact that he's going to be an improvement at point guard is going to improve the whole team. I also think that Chris Jones isn't with us, but we got his giant big man that he wanted in Najah Hines. And I think that it's going to take a couple of months, but I think by the time the Big East season goes around, he's going to be a contributor.
So you got Godswill and Najah. Who's going to start?
I'm hearing Payne is blowing people away.
Right, but Payne's a power forward. He's going to the center is going to be split between Bobby's guy, Hines, and Godswill.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they play that. But I also think the other piece of it is where I'm most concerned is we still don't have a 3-point shooter. We don't have a guy on the roster who's going to go 3 for 8 every night, bang in 9 points. Not a lot of guys make 3 threes a game, but we don't have anybody who takes 3 threes a game. And so I think that that's going to be a big area for us to improve is if any of the guys we've been writing about can step up and be a 3-point shooter, then I think that we've got a complete team.
Who do you think has the best chance? Who has the best chance? Fisher? Who has the best chance? Fisher to be a 3-point scorer?
I think Staten McRae and Dar are the 2 best shooters.
Right.
But Dar has a reputation of being very poor defensively. So the question is going to be, is he going to be able to play and at the same time be, how much is his defense going to hurt us?
Give me your projected starting lineup right now as of August 12th.
So my guess would be Clark at point guard. I believe that Godswill will be starting at center.
Okay. Payne at power forward?
Payne at power forward. And then I think my 2 wings have to be Fisher and Stanton McRae.
Okay.
Because you've got to have
not a bad 5.
Yeah, you've got to have one of the 3-point shooters out there, and Fisher is one of the better scorers.
Right.
So those are my 5.
Frank, what do you think? What are you hearing?
Oh, well, no, that's similar too. I mean, I thought Hines was going to come right in and start, but
over Godswill.
I thought so, but you know what? After what I was reading and. Paul, like you brought up on a different post, like when they released that schedule, and some people had Seton Hall ranked some one spot, and the other teams that were in the Maui tournament ranked another spot. how do you know unless if you've seen a practice? I don't know if this guy, whoever ranked our starting five, really knew. I mean, maybe you guys know a little bit more than what I've been reading and what I've been hearing, but I think it's still too early to tell. I mean, I saw a lot of video, and I liked the way Hines looked in high school, especially during the state playoffs and everything. I thought he looks agile, but it's tough to come right in as a freshman. But God's will is only a sophomore, so it's tough. Has he really grown that much more? I think maybe Hines might be a little bit more talented. I think it's really a crapshoot.
And Frank, to your point, it's all guesswork right now. We haven't seen anybody play yet. They haven't thrown the ball up yet. I mean, we're just taking our best guesses.
I know, yeah, right. But I mean, I really thought that after we signed him, I thought they were going to say, yeah, no, he was a shoo-in to come in and start right away as a freshman. Maybe they don't want to put pressure on him. Maybe that's what it comes down to. Maybe they want to start off in the beginning of the year with God's will, and then maybe let him get his feet wet, and then maybe by Big East season he could come in. But I mean, even a guy like Nick, Mark Bryant, remember him? He had to get his feet wet in the Big East, right?
Yeah, and then he saved PJ's job. He went crazy his senior year down the stretch and took us to the NCAA tournament for the first time like ever. So Mark Bryant from Eater Terrace in South Orange.
I believe still a mixed coach as well.
Yeah, they kept him on.
Oh yeah.
They demoted Mr. Brunson. We had talked about that. Mr. Brunson is not the top coach now, the top assistant. Chris, what do you think? Do you have any idea about the lineup? Anything? Any thoughts?
Yeah, well, I'd say I also thought that Hines was going to be the guy. It seemed like he was going to be the cornerstone of this year's incoming class for Seton Hall. But I would say it's probably a good problem to have if you're considering splitting those two guys in terms of playing time. It benefits you in multiple ways. There's truthfully, for one thing, we probably talked about this, I think, when we mentioned the Knicks getting knocked out by the Pacers, and the whole thing with them is running the floor, but also the amount of depth that they actually have and multiple solid players at any given position. That's what allowed them to stretch the series so far against Oklahoma City. And yet there's also another thought process here is, I mean, basketball has become so much more of a positionless game at times. I know it's still somewhat different at the college level. You could play these guys at the same time if you really wanted. I mean, you could look at sort of a Tim Duncan, David Robinson situation when both of those guys could play center at any given time, and both of those guys could transition to a power forward. And truthfully, how many times over the years have we seen it? Nobody's announced as a center, but it's a 3-forward, 2-guard set. And, Paul said Seton Hall doesn't really have a dominant three-point shooter, but why not stack the paint at that point? You can have two dominant rebounders. And sure, you might not be particularly strong from the outside, but it's another guy to commit fouls, another guy to eat fouls, and another guy that can dominate the glass. So that's what I think about those two guys in particular, at least.
I think, though, Coach said already that he's not going to put the two big guys in together. That's just not his philosophy. That wasn't Willard. I know. We like to see it just to see how it would work, but especially when you have Sumnick and Payne as your power forwards.
Well, if you're a Seton Hall fan, then you just hope that desperate times don't call for. Ultimately, that would be a desperate situation.
Right. Paul. No, you're back to stack monster mode. Oh, he's throwing those out.
You got those at Circus City.
At least Paul listens. Stack Monster would go on for like 15 minutes, talking to people, and we have no idea what he's saying.
Paul, you there? No, you're not.
What do you guys think, though, about, like, Chris, you brought up a great point about the outside shooters. If they're not clicking from the outside, you just stack the paint. What if you rotate them? Because I think we have a lot of potential or several different candidates that could get hot from outside. What if, you think they rotate and just see if somebody could catch fire?
Yeah, I mean, are there that many guys that really? I mean, nobody here was anybody here a 5-star recruit, a national, a really top line 5-star recruit? It's going to be a
No,
lot about
we don't have
experimentation.
potential.
It's gonna that's how it's going to have to work, and then you try to snowball.
No,
from there.
you're hoping on players develop and come into their own and player development over the summer, and that's always been our strength, right? We everyone who came to Seton Hall the last couple of years and who stayed multiple years always got better. But what I think, Frank, is without the 3-point shooting, I think you're going to have and with the depth, you play his 1-3-1 zone. You trap a lot. You try to create a lot of turnovers. And with your team speed, you score in transition. And you try to run the other squad down with your depth. I mean, that's how I'm looking at it. That's, from a coaching blueprint. What do you guys think? You think we're going to be more up-tempo?
That actually does sound a lot like Pacer basketball in terms of just running the floor. Yeah. You're sprinting. You turn it into a track meet. And then also trapping all the time.
Right. And that's kind of what we have, right? We don't have the 3-point shooters. We don't have the guy who could come off the bench and hit the threes. We don't have Matt Carroll or kids like that.
Matt Carroll. No, I think that's our number one option. But, there's going to be times where we're going to be forced into our half-court offense. And then they're going to have to rely on somebody. It's funny you brought up Matt
I
Carroll.
see a lot of high ball screens by God's will, or I haven't seen Hines play, but maybe the same thing. High ball screens, spread the wings. Who knows?
If he doesn't know, he'll learn from God's will in practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting watching those two guys learn from each other.
Any other thoughts on the team this year? Anybody? Anything you're looking forward to? Want to see develop?
God's will, Ariarene. Yeah, I'd like to see him. I mean, he showed some good flashes last year. I mean, that game at Georgetown against Sorber, I thought he played great, and that was right before Sorber went down for the rest of the year, right?
Yeah, what I noticed about God's will was it would come in spurts and then it would go away. But that's what happens with freshmen, right? Mm-hmm. They show you a little bit, and that might be the development of Hines too. So that's why I think it's a good thing that you have both of them. I think it's a really good thing, And plus, with injuries, big guys tend to get injured a little bit, and big guys tend to get in foul trouble, and whatever. So, and big guys tend to get tired. So that's a great thing to have that 2 or 3-headed monster right there. And then hopefully Bobby's guy will get some minutes. Bobby, what do you think about I'm going to pronounce his name wrong, Mabai?
I guess we got to see. We added some muscle in the offseason, right? And again, he's going to learn. He's going to learn from. God's will was kind of raw himself, and like you said, came on second half of the season. So maybe with him being on the court more and having what's the new guy's name?
Hines. His name is Hines.
You're back. Yes, you're back.
And you can
back, monster. You're there.
Yeah, that's right.
Now he's goofing.
Jerry, we can't hear you. Yes. Technology, baby. It's what makes the world go round.
I just want to see us having, a player or two that's in the NBA picture, right? That you see, so when I sit there, and Chris knows where we are, the media section, there's always some NBA scouts there. They always seem to be for everybody else except us. Mm-hmm. So I want to see us have a couple of guys that, are exciting to watch and have a potential to play in the big dance, in the league.
And not just scouts from other colleges at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder how that works, by the way. I wonder if they they obviously sneak in and no one knows who they are, but they're not sitting in the press section. So if you're by the way, are we any closer to a GM yet? Has anybody heard anything about that? Are we getting someone? Right? Oh, was it Lynch?
No, I don't think that there was something about Kevin Lynch coming back to be director of basketball operations, but that's the job he left to be an assistant coach. So that really didn't make any sense. And I haven't heard
But hold on, Nick. It would make sense in this new world we're in now. Because now that GM now has to not only look to keep his own players there, but now they're going to start almost like any NFL, NBA, MLB team You got to start scouting other teams to see who might, the low-reaching fruit might be to grab them yourself.
No, I agree with you, but I think right now our GM is Shaheen Holloway.
Exactly.
No doubt.
Yeah,
no
when
doubt.
I did my tour of the new practice facility for alumni weekend, that was one of the things that was addressed in the basketball courtroom by whoever the coach was. I don't know who it was, but he pretty much said Shaheen is the GM. Like, he's the one that's overseeing everything.
Everything.
Which
Now,
obviously,
Nick, I think, wasn't he the coordinator back then? And then the rumor, like a few weeks ago, was he was going to be the director.
I always get confused. Like, it was him and Smythe. One was Adobo, and one was there. There's two. There's a head coach, then there's 3 assistants, and then your Dobo and all those other things. So I have no idea. But yeah, I don't. I haven't heard anything.
So I think what Nicole's saying is right. I mean, the bottom line is it's Shaheen, overseeing everything.
Which is a good sign if you're a Seton Hall. Go ahead, Paul.
Well, Nick has mentioned a bunch of times that the guy who's cooking the meal wants to buy the groceries, right? The old Bill Parcells.
Yeah.
But even so, the amount of effort and time that it takes to scout 250, 300 other Division I programs, figure out what your needs are, identify players who might be interested in coming to New Jersey, look at your budget, and then lay out who you're gonna offer contracts to. Even if Coach Holloway wants final say on who gets chosen, that's still a job. I don't know how you can possibly be doing that job and coaching a team in the Big East.
And you have 2 weeks, and you have 2 weeks to do that, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, you obviously have to have, again, even if Coach Holloway is making the final decision and saying, no, let's, these 2 guys, I want this guy and not that guy, or, I want another big man and I don't want another shooter, or whoever he's trying to decide. I spent, a little bit of time writing those profiles. And it's a pain in the neck to go and try to hunt down information on these players and where they're from. And I'm looking at 9, not 300. So I think that's got to be a full-time job or several full-time jobs just to be able to make the recommendation list, just to be able to make, like in the Moneyball where they've got the board and they've got the list of the guys they've reviewed. Hopefully there's more than 1 or 2 people who are doing that. Even if the final say goes to the head coach.
Well, that's why this has turned into. I was talking to an assistant coach, and I commented to him that he looks, he lost a lot of weight and he looks good, and he goes, it's stress, 100% stress, and it's true. I mean, this job, those guys now get a vacation. This is it. This is their vacation because the kids all had to go home while they're transitioning to dorms, right, Nicole?
Yep.
Yeah, this is the quiet side. This is when there's no kids on campus and the coaches go on vacation now. But then they're back and it starts all over again until next year at this time. It's insanity.
Look, it was never easy for a college coach.
No, it's gotten worse.
Yeah, well, it's bad now, but I mean, think of it when PJ had to sit there and rattle the cages and recruit even at the high school level. And a college coach's job was never done.
PJ slept in the office. PJ didn't get married till he got out of coaches and had a family. It's like almost impossible.
I remember that. I know.
And the one thing, if I could just change the subject a little bit, and I'm sorry that for the technical difficulties, I finally found a port on my laptop.
Don't apologize.
Don't
apologize.
So right now in college basketball, we have 2 different organizations that are essentially policing the sport. We have the CSC, the College Sports Committee, which is looking at NIL and determining whether contracts are right, and are these deals real deals? And there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. And there's a guy named Brian, I can't remember his last name, but he came over. He's a legal guy from Major League Baseball who's now the commissioner of college sports for the NIL portion of things. And then we still have the NCAA, who is ultimately supposed to be continuing to at least give lip service to the fact that the players are college students and deal with things like eligibility and deal with things like, whether or not what are the grades that teams have to be. And I'm wondering, and we've been talking about is players and money. We've never once talked about academics. Academics has taken a complete back seat and when you recruit people. And I'm wondering at what point the NCAA decides they're going to just go crazy and start doing, some sort of academic oversight to guys who are getting paid. I still can't figure out how you can have two different organizations policing the sport from different sides.
You don't.
I don't know how that could possibly work.
I mean, I don't. Really, you don't. And truthfully, if it's de facto a professional organization at this point, considering people are getting paid, at least for sports like basketball and football, not necessarily for any given sport. There are probably some people who aren't getting paid to, I don't know, run cross country or something like that. But at that point, technically, if it's professional, technically grades shouldn't matter. I'm not saying I agree with that, but technically, by that logic, that is the case.
But theoretically, that is the case. But then if a kid gets just going back to, and I don't know if Frank remembers this team, we had a team when Hadi Mahan coached for the 1 year, and it had, he knows what I'm going to say, Daryl Devereaux and Danny Calandrillo and Howard McNeil and Clark Young, Daryl Devereaux and Howard McNeil obviously never went to class. And when the report cards came out, spring break, we were 9-1 and we beat Houston. And then that team, those players all got kicked off and it all went downhill. So you do have to maintain some standards, right? Some type of GPA. And I know what Seton Hall does is, and I like this model, when they bring everyone in for the summer, those kids are taking 12 credits. So they're getting ahead of the game. So they don't have to take a heavier workload during the season. There has to be some standards, right, guys? Still college, a university.
Absolutely.
Well, I would hope, but that's going to be, I think, Chris brought up a good point. You're paying these guys, you're paying some of them 7 figures. And then I just can't imagine a different organization coming in after you've signed somebody to a $750,000 NIL deal and saying, you flunked out of intro English, you can't play. I can't imagine it happening anymore. So
I understand. Paul's saying it's changed a lot than the way it was back in the late 80s or early 80s, like that team you were talking about, Nick. I mean, some professors and some deans of certain schools might be saying, no, you know what? All right, yeah, you know what? Just have them retake the test, and I'll pass. And not here by us, but maybe other places.
Well, I was watching College Game Day, love College Game Day, and Paul Skeens was the guest picker of the games, and he had made a comment I really had to do my homework this week, and Nick Saban said, well, that's more homework than you did your entire career at LSU. So yeah.
Well, yeah, Saban will say that about a LSU guy, yeah. But I remember seeing podcasts about, like, say, Caravan from UConn last year and how hard he was studying. But meanwhile, I thought he was supposed to be taking a test at the end of the week. And instead, he gets back from losing to Florida and he's running like some camp out in Chicago or something like that. So, I don't know how it all works out, but there's definitely a juggling act with what they could do with some of the athletes. I know we do a great job. We always have, and her name comes up all the time. I've seen it online, Robin Cunningham. She was there when I was there, and
Yeah, she started the whole program. Yeah.
she would hold the kids accountable and make sure that they got their stuff done. Maybe that's what somebody did, and they had to follow Caravan out Midwest. But I heard it's not like that at a lot of other schools, especially some of the ones down south.
I know back a few years ago, one of the assistant coaches, part of their job was going to the classes and make sure the kids showed up in the classes. And if they didn't, go grab them out of their dorms and get them there, or let the head coach know they're not going to class, and they got reamed out. That was the thing. You have to go to class.
Yep.
And then on the flip side, you have UNC where
players. I'm sorry. What happens to these players? They're at the end of the bench. They're not getting NIL money, and are watching their brothers on the court slack off, but they're not getting NIL money, and they're there for an education. Are they going to class? Are they there? Are they know they're not going to have, sometimes we all went to college and got degrees. Are they there for a degree at that point? I'm talking about the end of the bench.
If you're at the end of the bench, then the classroom is. If you're going to miss something, you're going to miss a practice, right? Instead, especially if you're not on scholarship, right? You're not going to miss a class for a practice, and then,
Well, I also think, how many Big East players got drafted in the last draft? I know Sorber did. I think did Nicole's favorite player?
Did.
Yes, he did.
Round, I think.
So in a league that's considered one of the best in the country, in the NBA draft, 60 guys were picked, and maybe 3 or 4 from the Big East got picked. I can remember 2 years in a row where the Big East Player of the Year did not get drafted. So right now, if you are playing in the Big East, you are making as much money from basketball as you are ever going to make in your life.
Kadari Richmond.
He got drafted?
No, he's made more money last year than he's ever going to make.
He will ever make. That's right. And I think
we booed him when Frank. You didn't boo him, right? You didn't boo Kadari.
Look, no. First of all, I don't boo anybody. I go to the games and I sit there and smile, and I look for Seton Hall fans to have fun with.
Right, exactly. So he came here. We were disgraced. Our fans were disgraced, booing the kid for making money and taking the contract because we couldn't pay him because they couldn't take money out of their pockets and donate. Let's just be honest. We're honest here. We tell the truth.
Nick, one thing that I don't know if you guys remember, but we could probably look it up. But I remember Carino writing an article right after he transferred, and he said, Kadari's going to come back to a chorus full of boos when St. John's comes into town. You know what? So when our casual fan is reading that, they're going to go ahead and do that.
Well, we don't really talk about Mr. Carino on this show, right? Right, Bobby? Jerry who? No. Jerry big time Carino.
Mr. Aloof.
But I think, Frank, to your point, when we got free agency when we got free agency in baseball, it took a while before fans got to the point where they accepted that guys were going to stay and leave.
Right.
And, a guy like Juan Soto, who's making $30 million and goes from the Yankees to the Mets, when you go to Yankee Stadium, you're going to get booed. But there's been a lot of guys who have taken deals and gone on, and they haven't gotten that same animosity because we're used to it in professional sports. I don't know that we're used to it in college sports yet.
Good point. We're not.
We still want to believe that these guys decided to go to Seton Hall because they love the school for the same reasons you guys all went, right? You love the school, you want a great education, and then they decided to try out for the basketball team. And that's the idea that we want to keep in our head about college athletics. And
the tooth fairy stopping at my neighbor's house tonight.
Well, exactly. And I know, and it hasn't been like that since the 20s, probably, but and the 1920s.
Wait, Phil, when you say it that way, that reminds me of like when I graduated in 1990, and I heard people going to a law school other than Seton Hall. I think I was booing my friends for going there.
Well, guys, I'll be right back. The new owner wants to see me, so I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right. Have fun.
Well, the sad, cynical question is, how many of you guys went to Seton Hall because of possibly how much scholarship money they gave you?
Not me.
No? Was it not a thought? Was it not a consideration? Was it not a
It was
consideration for any
different.
given
It was
person?
different, Chris. My mother got a part-time job to pay for my tuition for 4 years, so it was totally different back then. It wasn't like it is now.
But I will.
I'm just saying,
But I will say,
Go ahead,
Chris, I went to the school that gave me the best financial aid package.
Okay.
Absolutely, did that. And that's not why I chose the school I chose, but it was, the best deal of the schools that I got accepted to.
yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying.
actually did the opposite.
It
So
doesn't have. Go ahead.
Can I?
Go on, Nicole.
Thank you. I didn't know that my grandfather went to Seton Hall until after I visited. And this was when his dementia was starting to kick. And every time I would show up at my Nana's house, it's all he would talk about. St. Peter's University actually gave me more money than Seton Hall. But for me, it was not so much about the money. It was more so about the quality of the education I was receiving.
Right.
Plus, for me, St. Peter's, it's kind of a commuter school. There's really no campus life or nothing. Whereas Seton Hall, oh my gosh, it's like I live there, so I also have a different opinion based on that. But that was my home, and literally, I still wish I could just go back every day if I could. Like, I don't think I would have had the same reaction if I did go to St. Peter's, to be honest.
And Nicole, one point of what you bring up, and throw this out to the group. John Feinstein wrote a book called The Season Inside.
Mm-hmm.
It was about college basketball. It was the first of his books where he followed different groups of people around and reported. And one of the things he talked about was recruiting. And this was before the NIL era. And what coaches had to do to convince a kid to come to the school because they couldn't pay them. Anywhere between pushing the academics to.
Well, wait, they couldn't legally pay them.
They couldn't legally pay them.
No.
That's right. But I mean, Jim Valvano you would walk into the Coliseum in Raleigh, and he'd be having a tape played of the NCAA Final Four championship game. And in the recording that you were listening to, you as the recruit would be the kid who makes the final shot to win the national championship. And the lights would come on and your jersey would be there already. Mm-hmm. They did all kinds of things to try to convince guys to go to school because, the money was something they really had to talk about under the table. And I guess my question is, will there come a time when guys are going to schools that they want to go to and not necessarily the most money? Is there going to be people like you, Nicole, who say, I want to go to this such and such a college because of the academics, because it's my dream, because I grew up in North Carolina and I always wanted to play for UNC? Or is it simply going to be right down the figures and the highest number wins?
Right.
I would hope it would be the former rather than the latter.
It's funny you mentioned that, though, because I actually do remember when I committed. No, it wasn't when I committed to Seton Hall. It was when I got accepted to Seton Hall. I found out via a video link that they sent, and they pretty much had my name all over the campus. Coach Willard was holding my welcome packet. It said, "Welcome, Nicole." Like, that was like the feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm here already. Like, this is home. And just to clarify too, Seton Hall actually gave me the second highest scholarship. So it wasn't all about the money, but I wouldn't change anything.
So you were recruited by Coach Willard.
I was recruited by Coach Willard.
Coach Willard, and then you ended up.
And then my sister's
talk about that, right?
My sister's acceptance package was from Shaheen Holloway.
Oh wow!
Yeah, isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? Like the video. When you were accepted to Seton Hall, they literally played a video.
I did not get that.
I didn't get that.
But I'm sorry, Nick. They didn't have videos back when we got accepted.
No,
me
that's the
either.
sad thing. They did when I did.
That's why I'm shaking my head.
They'd write it on an index card. You gotta, you went on when the letters came out, there would be a pile of letters. The thick ones you got in, the very thin one you didn't get in.
We
I
went
actually
on
still
a
have my acceptance folder too, somewhere.
we went on a booster club trip to the Mohegan Sun. My son, wife, and I, and the priest on board the bus the whole time tried to recruit my son to go to Seton Hall, and I guess he ended up doing it. So yeah.
Did he try to recruit him to the priesthood though?
No, not to the priesthood. Not yet.
Where did the trip originate from?
South Orange.
It was a Seton Hall thing, and they went to Mohegan Sun.
We were playing in a tournament up there.
Oh, I got you. All right.
Now, obviously, I was gone playing with my headset for most of the show. Did you guys get a chance to talk about any of the rumors that came out of the golf outing?
Yes.
Okay,
Well, what rumors are those? Maybe that Payne was looking good and Bud Clark was looking good, and
well, the couple of things that I had heard was that there was a difference in attitude among the coaching staff. That Coach Holloway was extremely gracious, wanted to make a point of shaking hands with everybody. That the tone of the whole event seemed to be a little bit more about, I don't know whether it's the cynical answer is about getting more season ticket renewals, but trying to be more, I guess, connected.
Personable.
Yes, personable. And there's also been, some of the things I've heard is that Coach Holloway is trying to improve his relationships with Zagoria and Carino. That last year that there was a lot of tension there, and those are the only two guys who write about us most of the time. So those are, again, this is just stuff I'm repeating third hand, but.
Well, let me just say this. I met Shah. I know Shah, and I've come in contact with him at, his beefsteak dinner, and he was always going around to the tables, being social and talking to everyone, and so I don't know where that came up, that disconnect that Hall Dan and them were talking about. I never saw. I maybe wasn't. I mean, you just get blown out in a game. You're not going to go in the press room and be all warm and fuzzy. You're just not, right? So I don't know. Winning, he'd have a better attitude. I don't know, but it's
and that's fair.
Right. The media has to do their job. I get it. It shouldn't be adversarial, but you have to be fair too, and you have to know when to maybe not push a little bit. And yeah. So is he going to try? I guess they're saying he's trying to improve his media relationships.
Yeah,
always trying to do that, right?
I would hope.
But I never thought he would. He would work the room at events the same way Willard kind of would work the room at events.
Right, that's part of that job.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to throw that out. I'm also. Is this the first year that they've done those? I don't know if they're X or TikTok videos with the players introducing themselves. Because I've seen
they've done other social media stuff before.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, they have.
I think it started around Cook's Corner. Like that's when it really started to take off. They were doing more of that media stuff.
Okay, interesting.
It could be the first year it's TikTok specific.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think those videos are actually pretty cool. Yeah, I like the Bud Clark one specifically.
Well, it's another thing that makes it more personable to the fans, that shows that they're not just people on a court. They're not just numbers, that like Holloway actually at the golf tournament, they're people. It's a personal touch. It's something where you want to make them feel like they are. It's a familial type feeling, as opposed to just sort of that corporate sensibility. Let's just throw money at us.
Fair enough.
And I'll say this: Seton Hall players have always been pretty good that way. And let me tell a quick story. Another Booster Club trip to Providence. We went out that night. We played Providence. We beat them, and then we came back, and the team came back on the team bus. Kind of got to Walsh at the same time. And as we were walking to our car, me and my son and his friend, a beat up old car came by us, beeping their horn, and two guys yelled at the window and they said, "Thank you for coming." And they stopped and we talked to them. And one was Pete Dill. I know Frank remembers Pete Dill. And the other was Herb Pope. And I thought that was a nice, and this was 1:30 in the morning, and they were going where they had to go, and they stopped and talked to, a couple 13-year-olds. And I thought that was just great. And I could tell millions of those stories with our players. So, yeah.
I miss when they did Hall, like Welcome Home to the Hall in October. When I was a freshman, the entire team was doing autographs on the green for no charge whatsoever.
I remember that, yeah.
And that's when I met Miles Powell, and my sister and I were going in for the picture with him, and he literally thought my sister and I were twins, and he literally took a second take at us because we do kind of look very similar. And he turned to Quincy and he's like, don't they look like twins to you? And Quincy was like, yeah, Quincy McKnight. But
wait, Samantha wait, Samantha?
Okay. My sister is Samantha and I have a friend named Samantha.
Oh, that's where we get confused. Okay. So your best friend Samantha is a twin and your sister
is a twin. My sister is 5 years younger than me. Yes.
Was Samantha at Belmore?
Huh?
Was Samantha at Belmore?
No, she's not old enough to be at Belmore yet. She's only 19.
Was Samantha Bernstein at Belmore?
Your best friend.
Your best friend.
Was there. Yeah, she was there.
Okay. I thought she was there. Okay.
Yeah, she was there. I stayed with her pretty much most of the time besides the yak and stuff.
Okay, I remember.
That was a fun event, too. I really wish more people would show out to that.
Yeah, Nick, Hody Mahone's son was there.
Yeah.
The guy,
Hottie Jr.
Right. He starts talking to me and he's saying, "Oh yeah, no, my dad used to be one of the coaches here, and I'm thinking of an assistant coach." I go, "Oh really? What was his name? I might remember him." He goes, "It was a while ago. His name was Hody," and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "He was a legend. What are you talking about?"
Okay, I'm going to throw something out there, and Bobby's not here. And what high school did Hottie Mahon coach at before he came to Seton Hall? Bill would know. Bill Hathaway would know. I just gave it away. Orange High School.
Oh, really?
And that's part of I'm old, and that's part of the reason they got Greg Tynes. Greg Tynes came from Orange, and Glenn Mosley came from Irvington Tech.
Nick, well, you're one of the few people that I know that I could talk to about the UHF days, watching the Seton Hall games on there, pre-cable.
Oh, with Dick Landis, who was a Rutgers shill.
Yeah, but I remember that's when I got into them. I remember my parents, I always had to work, even when I was in 5th, 6th grade, either babysitting, mowing lawns and stuff like that. So I'm babysitting. I'm like, what's on? Oh, UHF, Seton Hall against, I don't know, Princeton. Oh, let me watch this game.
Yeah.
And I used to watch, and that's when I go, my dad went to Seton Hall. Yeah, maybe one of these days, these guys will be as good as a North Carolina or somebody like that.
Well, if you were watching that game, you saw me, because we would sit behind, because I was an aspiring coach. I would always sit behind the opposing team's bench because you were right there. It was right there. I mean, I saw Louis Carnesecca design plays with nickels, dimes, and quarters. That's how, when I do that sometimes when I coach. So we were sitting behind the bench, and Dalen Calandrillo had a shot at the buzzer to beat Princeton. And we were walking off, and Pete Carrill thought we were Princeton fans, and we're going, tough luck. And he's going, yeah, win some, lose some. And we got on TV with walking out with Pete Carrill. So, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that, Frank, though, because I remember after a couple of my college visits, we were ordering dinner, and I was scrolling on the TV trying to find something to watch, and I somehow stumbled across a basketball game for Seton Hall. And I just turned it on out of curiosity. And that's when I saw Powell and Gill and Quincy. And that's when it also kind of like solidified my decision.
Well,
I'm telling you, having the opportunity to sit in the student section for the years that I did, I would not take that for granted. It was such an amazing time, especially watching Seton Hall beat UConn. That game in 2023 was insane.
Yeah, I was just going to say which year. We've actually made a habit of that the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
know?
2023. I
Orange
was actually sitting with Sam Bernstein, who was on the comment section earlier. We were like the first row behind the flat area, and it was literally the buzzer beater with like 2 seconds left. Seton Hall tied. No, they didn't tie it. They had a 1-point lead against UConn, and there was pretty much no time left, and they were losing that whole game, so no one expected them to win. And I was screaming.
That Kadari just couldn't. They just kept posting up Kadari, and he just kept.
It might have been, but I just remember waking up the next morning and not having a voice at all because of how much I was screaming.
Is Miles your all-time favorite Pirate?
That's a good question. I mean, he kind of started my passion for Seton Hall basketball,
Right.
so I would say yes. I'd say yes.
Not to name drop because my name's not someone else, but Miles had Easter dinner at my house, but he wouldn't eat dessert because he still watched his weight. True
That's
story.
amazing.
Yeah.
What year was this?
So Nick went for maybe 16 or 17, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. Mike was still there. Because Mike was there too. Mike was still on. So whatever year Mike and Miles played together.
It's also interesting too because at that time when I first was really getting into it, the Seton Hall basketball team was stacked in terms of talent. So you had the likeness of Powell, you had Mamu, you had Ike, you had Gil, you had Rhoda was one of my favorites too. I can't forget about him. Like I knew all these guys going into my freshman year just because of what
Miles Kale, right? Miles Kale.
Yes, Miles Kale. Yes, him too. I'm looking at my poster from 2019 that I still have hanging up here. Like trying to figure out like, okay, who's who. But like that team was the team that pretty much made me
Was it for you?
Basketball.
Yeah.
Because I didn't watch basketball before coming to Seton Hall. So like, this was whole new territory for me.
You when you went to the all girls finishing school, you didn't follow basketball.
Hell no.
Did they have a basketball team?
Yeah.
But you weren't on it.
I didn't play sports in high school.
Were you a cheerleader?
No.
No, you weren't a cheerleader. No.
St. Dominic?
Not in the back.
Yep.
Bobby, Bobby, are you still employed?
Yeah. Ironically, the head of our HR for the new company is a Seton Hall graduate. So.
Amazing.
So just a couple of things because I'm gonna go with and throw this headset away.
Wait, you gotta go. No, Paul, you gotta go overtime tonight.
You need to go over.
I'm playing the point.
Gotta go.
Yeah. Bye,
Chris.
That's right. That whole gainful employment thing. But no,
not to interrupt you, but I'm playing point guard here, and I'm trying to feed the ball in my wing, and you're not there to catch it. I mean, come on. So you gotta go overtime.
I'm killing you guys tonight. Well, the first thing was I just wanted to mention that you were talking about seeing the Jonas Brothers at Bethel Woods, and I was wondering if anybody on this call knows what Bethel Woods is.
No,
well, I do.
It's Woodstock. That's right.
Woodstock.
It is. And
Max Yasker, is that the name?
That's it. And if
you actually drive right past Yasker Farms to get here.
That's it.
Really?
Yeah.
And if you ever get
did they have a plaque?
They have a monument.
There's a monument. There's a flagpole.
Yeah, there's a monument down at the bottom, and then if you the venue is actually not where the concert was. The venue is way up on the top of the hill, but there is a museum. There is a Woodstock museum that you can go in that's dedicated to peace, love, and music. And they actually have some interesting exhibits there. So it's if you're going to go to a concert at Bethel Woods, it's worth going early and walking around in the museum.
And this weekend is usually the anniversary weekend of Woodstock. So all the old hippies come out and they still have some jam sessions on the original area by Yasker's Farm.
That's
So
neat.
if I pass there on Sunday, there'll be a bunch of tents out there and people camping out and for the weekend and having a good time.
It is interesting. There are a bunch of folks who wandered to the concert and couldn't get their VW buses to start, and who still live here now. Because
Yeah,
Did
a lot of them, a lot of them live here from that time.
Did anybody see the Billy Joel special on HBO? The documentary?
No, I did
but
not.
I heard about it.
It
Is it worth watching?
was really good. But the reason I bring it up, because when I was looking for it, I came across a documentary called Gimme Shelter. Paul, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Absolutely. Altamont.
Tell Nicole. Nicole, you got to watch it.
So the Rolling Stones headlined a West Coast version of Woodstock at Altamont Raceway. And in their infinite drug-induced stupidity, they chose to hire members of the Hells Angels motorcycle gang for security.
I swear to God.
They were paying them in beer.
Oh
And
my
at some
gosh.
point, somebody actually got stabbed to death. One of the Hells Angels actually committed a murder at the concert. I'm getting that right, Nick?
Yeah.
Yes. And in the middle of Sympathy to the Devil, that went on, and Mick Jagger infamously said, "Who's fighting and why?"
And so when you listen to the song American Pie, and the last version is "No angel born in hell could break that Satan spell." That's what it's about. The last verse of Bye Bye Miss American Pie is about Altamont.
I knew the whole story until that last line about American Pie. I didn't know that.
Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack Flash sat on a candlestick because fire is the devil's only friend.
Wow. Makes a lot of sense now.
Now, I can't remember the stuff I have to write for work tomorrow, but I do remember the lyrics to a song that came out in 1971.
I saw that documentary, though, and I remember watching it. And I remember it vividly. And I remember it actually being scary when I saw it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the version where they actually have the Stones watching the concert footage, right?
Right.
But
Yeah,
wow, I never knew anything about the Don McLean song. I always thought the Don McLean song was written before that, but I guess not. Okay.
That's a whole show in itself, that song.
Yes, it is.
I always thought that song was just about Buddy Holly, but I guess it was about a lot of different things.
Yeah, right. Is Tony Bozzella on? I hear the dog.
Oh, that's our dog over here. Somebody made the mistake of walking by the house with a flashlight, and the dog flips out.
Let me just say, on segue on that Tony Bozzella thing, I got I'm also a women's season ticket holder, and NIL is now to the point where, and I'm going to call it a VIG for anyone who gambles. Nicole, you know what that is. You now, for the women's season tickets, for the first time, you have to pay a surcharge that goes to Pirate Blue, and that was never that way before.
Wow.
Yeah. Not a big one, but you still have to pay one.
Wow.
And a few years back, you got like 4 free women's tickets in your men's season. So, university needs money. Totally. I get it. I understand. It's a whole new ball game.
I know it's late. I know Paul has to go. I have to go. Have we mentioned? You guys mentioned this recruit we got at the women's team, top 200 player?
No, we did. It just happened, right?
I noticed it. I just happened to notice it in our chat. Like, I've been so busy up here, I'm kind of remiss on a few things. But I happened to notice that, and it's supposed to be a really highly rated recruit coming in next year
In
from
the
Las
90s.
Vegas.
90s, right?
Yeah, like top 100 player, which is a huge get for our program.
Very big.
All right, any final thoughts? Paul, before you go?
Well, thanks, Bobby, for hosting as always, and Nick for being our host, and of course Nicole. And I'm going to kill the dog now. We're going to be feeding it to a Vietnamese restaurant pretty soon. There is nothing outside, by the way. The dog is barking into the darkness. I've been enjoying writing a little bit. I've been writing a little bit for the football for my alma mater as well, and it's great to be on the show.
Excellent. Frank, first time on the show. What are your thoughts?
And it won't be the last.
Well, it's, as Nicole and yourself, you guys both know, I love talking Seton Hall with, anybody who bleeds pirate blue. I love it. So that's why I always liked following along with you guys, trying to contribute, being in the bullpen, whatever I had to do, whatever, I love it. I just like to keep the ball rolling. And if you guys ever need any help, I'm around.
Well, I think we should be kind of like modern celebrities by the time season rolls around, right? Men's and women's. Nick from Melbourne, any final thoughts?
No, I just want to echo what everyone else said. Show my sign again from Coldplay. Yeah, I mean, Frank, you did great. Welcome aboard. Paul, you came off the bench today, and your usual great self. Not in the starting lineup for the first time, but you did really well off the bench. And Nicole, you just bring something to the show that you're the intangible player. You just make it better. And Bobby, you are the rock. And I miss when I don't do this. It's maybe a pain in the ass asking when our next show is, but I really, this is a passion. This is, I really look, everything else going crazy in my life. This is just kind of a nice little fun release. And we all enjoy talking Seton Hall Pirate basketball and having fun. I think that's what makes this show different. We can go an hour and 36 minutes and, it just seems like we started 5 minutes ago and we had a good time.
I can echo that. Sometimes I feel like this show is just one big FaceTime call. It's not like I kind of forget that there's people actually watching us.
That's the beauty of the broadcast world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a perfect segue. My final thoughts. We talked about an all-Italian show. We talked about Bethel Woods, and this weekend we have Sebastian Maniscalco here. He's Italian, right? And I'm pretty sure the Jonas brothers have Italian blood in them, so they're here the next day. So perfect. Sebastian
Maniscalco could be my father.
My parents saw him.
He did a routine where he was talking about finding a loose Band-Aid in the swimming pool at a hotel in Las Vegas. And I swear to God, I'm listening. I said, this could be my dad. Only my father wouldn't be making jokes about it. He would actually be really horrified about this idea that somebody has a Band-Aid that came off their foot and it's in the pool. Now he has to go through it, completely fill the pool with chlorine because he's not going to get in it. We all know what skivus means, and it's the world that I've lived in for a very long time.
And tomorrow night we have the next Sebastian Maniscalco here. That's Anthony Rodia. So he's the next big Italian comic. He'll be national probably soon after his Netflix special comes out. But he'll be here tomorrow night.
Neat.
All right,
Nicole, before we let me just interrupt for 2 seconds. Nicole, before we go off the air, have you heard from Chris Jones? Is he having a hell of a summer or what?
It sounds like he is. He's working.
Oh my God! Tonight. It's like the Jonas Brothers, and who was there the night before?
Jonas Brothers, My Chemical Romance.
Wrestling was there for
the weekend.
2 nights.
2 weekends ago, yeah.
Yeah, he's every weekend it's something. The guy's having a great summer.
Oh yeah, just wait till football season hits.
Quick plug: the Orange Italian American Festival will happen in Orange in September on Lincoln Avenue. Orange in September what? So we could plug it.
We should be like on the parade, like the what do you call that guy? The Grand
Poobah.
The Grand Poobah of the parade.
Wait, is Bill a Grand Poobah? See, yeah, Mr. Jones, but it's fun busy, right? Like I'm busy at work too, but I'm not seeing the Jonas Brothers.
He actually saw the Jonas Brothers.
Mr. Jones?
Mm-hmm.
Really? How do you know that?
Because they went to the concert. Chris got them the tickets.
Oh, okay.
Facebook.
Remember we asked Chris who was going to be hitting him up for tickets the most, and he said his parents?
Yep.
There you go.
I'm a Facebook sleuth.
Well, Chris, Mr. Jones, tell Chris we miss him.
Yes, please. And
And
tell
also
Lisa I
he-
said hello.
And he's got to be excited that we got Nigel Hines. He loves big men.
All right, Nicole, take us away.
We're still pretty much near the end of the off season, so I'm not really gonna do my spiel just yet. But yeah, since the season is gonna be starting in a few months, definitely encourage everyone to invite their friends who may not know too much about Seton Hall yet, but may want to learn more about it and get on the hype train with us. If you know any alums that would love to join this group to reconnect with others, please forward them the invite link. We're currently sitting at 6.3K members. It would be great to hit 6.4. So we're about 700 away from that, so that would be amazing. This was a pretty busy summer for me since this was my first summer working full-time, so I feel like it flew by very quickly. I'm excited for fall.
When did you work? You were down ashore every day.
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't.
You got dog degrees.
I was down the shore from June 26th to July 7th. And then there was a couple of Atlantic City weekends scattered in there. But like majority of my weeks have been in Hoboken.
Oh.
All right.
Wait.
I'm sorry, I'll be in AC for Sebastian Maniscalco end of September in the Borgata.
Oh, that's Nicole Compu. Nicole's Miss Borgata.
He's not playing at Borgata. He's playing at Ocean, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I think we're staying at Borgata.
Good choice.
That's Nicole's place.
I'll throw your name around a little bit, see what happens.
Oh, if you go to B Prime, ask for Frank as your waiter. If you go to Old Homestead, ask for Kevin.
There we go.
There's your plugs.
And before we go, Bill Hathaway. I mean, the Italian show you're a part of should be Grand Poobahs at next year's parade or festival. That's all I got to say. All right, on behalf of my team here, my great team, you've listened to the best Seton Hall basketball show on the planet. And we'll be back probably next week or the week after. Maybe next week, if you have any fantasy football questions before your drafts, well, I'll be glad to help you with that. And the Yankees are playing the Twins, so that's a good elixir for them, while the Mets keep on losing. On behalf of our team, we'll see you guys and gals next week. Enjoy the last few weeks of summer because the fall is right around the corner.
Good night, everyone.
Good night and go Pirates.
Good night.
Thanks,
Bye, guys. Good night. All right, Blackjack.
Take care, buddy.
All right, I'll see you, buddy.
You got it.